SpectreMancer is a high damage and high survivability witch build that utilizes the destructive abilities of multiple specters and the damage absorption of mini zombies and skeletons. This build benefits from extremely fast clearing speed, high survivability due to pets. It is an excellent farming class thanks to the ability to stack item rarity or quantity in favor of other damaging stats, and has an easy playstyle, allowing for multiple mistakes without much repercussion. This build suffers from being bad at low levels, reliance on getting specters before starting, screen lag due to having multiple fireballs and pets, and this build is not wanted in groups. Most people will boot summoners or not allow them to join in the first place. Basic gameplay consists of throwing down a skeleton totem to distract enemies, cursing them with flammability, and throwing flame traps whenever needed. Your specters will take care of most of the damage. Running around enemies is your only way of survivability unless you're running temporal chains, which I don't suggest. Your damage on flame trap is negligible at best, but it works well on bosses. Fighting elites, champion packs, and bosses, you can use your bear trap to destroy them quickly. This also works well when fighting necromancers or any other enemies that summon, as you can get them out of the middle of the group. Only a few items are needed to make the SpectreMancer build work perfectly. Queen's Decree is used for an additional Spectre, as well as an increased minion life and damage. Equipping the sword has a detrimental effect of not allowing the player to use a shield, hindering the ease of maxing resist in later difficulties. Although the price is usually steep, this sword is a large asset to the build and should not be overlooked. A Seed Breath Power Amulet is used to increase minion life and damage, and usually comes at a cheap price. Bones of Uller increase the maximum number of specters able to be summoned and thus are critical to the build. The price is usually not too high, and there are plenty on the market, even on the new Anarchy server. With these 3 pieces acquired, the rest of your gear should include as many resists as possible, in addition to high HP. At higher gear levels, the player may acquire large amounts of item rarity if running in a group, or high amounts of item quantity if running solo. The ability to choose all item rarity or item quantity in favor of any damaging based stat points on gear makes the SpectreMancer a top choice build for farming both items and currency. The bread and butter of a SpectreMancer build are zombies, skeletons, and of course specters. Skeletons take a long time to summon and do minimal damage. They are used mainly to soak up damage, and thus are tied to a spell totem with faster casting to make sure that they are up at all times. If a 4th link is available, I suggest adding a blind gem to your skeleton totem to allow your minions to blind your enemies. Raised Zombie is mainly used for damage absorption, but these pets can deal substantial damage given the right circumstances. They may be tied to minion life, minion damage, and a variety of other gem types. The Raised Spectre gem will be linked to 2 different gems depending on your minion. If using a Flame Sentinel, the player will be using minion damage, greater multiple projectiles, and Life Leech. Life Leech is a necessity and should be acquired before minion damage. It greatly improves the survivability of your specters and allows them to rarely die. If a 5th socket is available, Concentrated Effect greatly increases the DPS of fireballs. If the player is using Void Bearers, increased minion damage will be replaced with added chaos damage. If a 5th socket is available, faster casting will be used to increase both the speed and range of the minion's attacks. Vitality and Purity should be linked to a reduced mana gem. This greatly reduces the reserved mana taken by these auras. Vitality is used to regenerate HP to your specters, and Purity is used to offset the difficulty of obtaining resists due to the inability to use a shield. Bear Trap will be linked to added fire damage and Culling Strike, giving it the maximum DPS obtainable for the gem. Fire Trap can be linked to either Concentrated Effect or Increased Area Effect, depending on the player's preference, as well as an increased burning damage gem. Flammability is used to increase both your pet's damage and to get through fire-resistant enemies' resists. This should be linked with an increased area of effect to maximize its utility. The SpectreMancer Witch build uses a very easy to follow and effective passive tree. The player will start on the right side to get mana regeneration. will progress up to Lord of the Dead as soon as possible to gain additional zombies. Next, the player will get life and energy shield nodes, progressing up to Deep Wisdom and then going left from there. Reaching this point, the player will get might and minion nodes. Continuing up, more life nodes, and eventually this ring of minion and, best of all, an additional Spectre node. From this point, the player will branch out to get additional minions here, here, and here. From this point, these nodes and these nodes will be getting. At higher levels, the player will progress down and get these life nodes, and end here. When the player needs additional dexterity, a node here and here can add additional dexterity. If more is needed, 2 additional dexterity nodes lie here. The main Spectre used by SpectreMancers are Flame Sentinels obtained in Solara's Temple. They are viable from the previous act until the next time you are able to acquire them. These Spectres are great not only at mass AoE, but deal significant single target DPS as well. Expect to clear entire zones and maps quickly with these minions. Void Bearers are an optional Spectre obtained from the docks in Act 3. These minions do incredible DPS in a cone and can melt most enemies in seconds flat. However, they lack the survivability of Flame Sentinels and require the player to be closer to melee range to be useful. Obtaining a single shaggy monstrosity found in Waterfall Cave 1 is useful in conjunction with the Void Bearers to annihilate bosses in seconds. These Spectres radiate a chaos aura that deals percentage-based damage to enemies, obliterating bosses. With the correct equipment, Spectres, and practice, the SpectreMancer can be one of the strongest classes in Path of Exile, and are single-handedly the best magic find class in the game. To find out more about this build, or to ask any questions regarding SpectreMancers or many of my other builds, please join me daily from 4 o'clock p.m. Pacific Daylight Time to midnight on Twitch TV. And to find more of my videos, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you have any suggestions or questions while I am not online, please feel free to comment in the sections below, and I will answer your questions as soon as possible. And until next time, this is Void Moon reminding you to stay classy, Rayclast.